In this video, we're going to talk about the top 10 healthcare stocks to buy now. Before starting, please do like the video and subscribe to this channel for future updates. The United States, the world's largest economy, spent 19.7% of its total GDP on healthcare in 2020 and boasts the biggest healthcare industry in the world. The Russell 3000 Healthcare Index, a benchmark for the global healthcare sector, posted returns of nearly 20% in 2021. This highlights the growing prevalence of healthcare businesses in the post-COVID world, where cutting-edge treatments for complex, emerging diseases are constantly being researched and discovered. Some of the biggest names in the healthcare industry include Pfizer Incorporated, Johnson & Johnson, and CVS Health Corporation. Using the first quarter portfolio of 1623 Capital, we picked the top 10 healthcare stocks in the fund's portfolio. We've also mentioned the hedge fund sentiment, which helps readers understand the popularity of each stock within the largest hedge fund industry. Number 10, Quantrax Corporation. Quantrax Corporation is 1623 Capital's top healthcare stock to purchase. In the first quarter, the fund owned 12,000 QRX shares worth $356,000, 0.17% of its portfolio. Massachusetts-based company develops digital immunoassay solutions for life sciences, research, and diagnostics. On May 11th, Cowen analyst Max Masucci lowered Quantrax Corporation's price target from $60 to $38. The company's $374 million in cash demonstrates an attractive growth trajectory and a plausible path to break even, he said. The Simoa neurofilament light chain plasma test from Quantrax Corporation was designated a breakthrough device by the FDA in April. 17 hedge funds tracked by Insider Monkey and Quantrax positions worth $171.1 million at the end of the first quarter. The previous quarter saw 21 hedge funds invest $236 million. Millennium Management was Quantrax Corporation's largest shareholder in Q1 2022. Wall Street investors also like Amazon.com, Apple, and Block Incorporated. Number 9, Insulin Corporation. Insulin Corporation produces and sells painless digitally managed insulin delivery systems called Omnipods. 1623 Capital's first quarter insulin position was roughly 1,500 shares worth $388,000. This was 0.19% of the fund's holdings, a 37% drop from the previous quarter. Citi analyst Joanne Wunsch downgraded Insulin Corporation to neutral from buy on July 11th due to rising inflation, interest rates, China lockdowns, and U.S. hospital staffing and capital investment headwinds. Analyst predicts a tough Q2 for medical supplies and technology. Insulin Corporation shares have fallen 18.53% so far this year. At the end of Q1 2022, 40 hedge funds owned $1.29 billion in Insulin Corporation. 39 hedge funds had $1.48 billion in company holdings a quarter earlier. D1 Capital Partners owned 1.44 million Insulin shares worth $384.1 million in the first quarter. Number 8, Dexcom Incorporated. Dexcom develops and markets glucose monitoring solutions for diabetes. End of March, 58 hedge funds from Insider Monkey's Q1 database had $1.48 billion in company shares. The previous quarter, 71 hedge funds were long Dexcom Incorporated shares. BTIG analyst Mary Thibault decreased Dexcom Incorporated's price objective to 105 from 135 on June 24th due to macro uncertainties, but maintained a buy rating on the shares. Piper Sandler analyst Matt O'Brien said Abbott's FDA clearance of its Libre 3 for diabetes management is a positive sign that the agency is pushing diabetic medicines through the pipeline, which bodes well for Dexcom, which has new products in the pipeline. Dexcom Incorporated has disputed market speculations of a prospective merger with Insulin Corporation. The firm has climbed 14.68% in the last 1 month as of July 12. 1623 Capital had $840,000 Dexcom Incorporated shares worth $430,000 in the first quarter, 0.21% of its portfolio. This was a 28% drop from the prior quarter. Holocene Advisors owned approximately 425,000 Dexcom shares worth $217.9 million in the first quarter. Number 7, Verve Therapeutics Incorporated. Verve Therapeutics develops gene editing treatments for cardiovascular disorders. BMO Capital analyst Kostas Bilouris started Verve Therapeutics Incorporated coverage on June 16th with an outperform rating and $48 price target. The analyst chose Verve as his top biotech selection because its differentiated gene editing strategy is effective and safer than first-generation methods. Bilouris said the company's data is backed by top-notch literature and is too wonderful to be true. 19 hedge funds were bullish on Verve Therapeutics Incorporated at the end of the first quarter compared to 20 a quarter earlier. Caston Capital was the company's top stakeholder in Q1 2022. Number 6, Inardi Medical Incorporated. Inardi Medical Incorporated produces medical equipment including a mechanical thrombectomy system. California is home. Motley Fool's 1623 Capital owned approximately 6,000 shares of the firm at the end of the first quarter, valued at $512,000. And March, 21 hedge funds had $186.9 million in Inari Medical Incorporated. This is an improvement from the previous quarter when 16 hedge funds invested. Millennium Management was Inari Medical Incorporated's largest shareholder in the first quarter of 2022. Adam Mader of Piper Sandler gave Inari Medical Incorporated an overweight rating and a $100 price objective on June 21st. The analyst predicts the company will have a handful of growth drivers in 2022 and 2023. Mader highlighted that mechanical thrombectomy is poised to become the standard of therapy for venous thromboembolism, and Inari is well positioned in this market. Inari Medical Incorporated is a 2022 stock to examine along with Amazon.com, Apple, and Block. Number 5, Penumbra Incorporated. Penumbra Incorporated develops interventional devices to treat vascular disorders such as aneurysm and stroke. Penumbra Incorporated attracted investors. In March, 29 hedge funds were long Penumbra Incorporated, up from 23 in December. Q1 hedge fund holdings totaled $410 million. Citi analyst Joanne Wunsch gave Penumbra Incorporated a buy rating and $220 price target on May 17th. Deutsche Bank analyst Pito Chickering gave the firm a buy rating in April, saying it's well-positioned for sustained premium growth in the coming years. The analyst predicts 15% annual sales growth through 2025, led by the firm's mechanical thrombectomy aspiration catheters in big patient populations with little penetration and significant unmet clinical need. Citadel Investment Group owned 367,000 shares of Penumbra Incorporated, worth $81.6 million in the first quarter. Millennium Management invested $50 million in the company. Number 4, Biomarin Pharmaceutical Incorporated. 1623 Capital held roughly 9,000 Biomarin Pharmaceutical Incorporated shares worth $670,000, according to first quarter disclosures. This was an 18% rise over the previous quarter and 0.33% of the fund's overall assets. Biomarin Pharmaceutical Incorporated in California makes life-threatening and rare disease drugs. 56 hedge funds had $2.36 billion in optimistic company shares at the end of Q1. This is an improvement from the previous quarter when 48 hedge funds owned shares. Olivia Breyer of Cantor Fitzgerald gave BMRN stock an overweight rating and a $110 price target on July 12th. Biomarin is one of the most distinctive biotech tales, and she recommends investors to buy the stock now. Breyer said Biomarin Pharmaceutical Incorporated had the best growth profile of any profitable U.S. biotech firm. Number 3, Teledoc Health Incorporated. Teledoc Health provides virtual health care in the U.S. 1623 Capital held more than 10,000 shares worth $725,000 at Q1 2022's end. This new addition represents 0.36% of the fund's assets. Stifel analyst David Grossman cut Teledoc Health Incorporated's price objective to $36 from $45 and maintained a hold rating. After the epidemic, he sees rising rivalry, market penetration, declining growth, and commoditization. Given the economic outlook, the analyst predicts little to no multiple expansion. 36 of the 912 hedge funds tracked by Insider Monkey owned Teledoc Health Incorporated. The previous quarter had 39 hedge funds. Kathy Wood's ARK Investment Management held a $1.4 billion stake in Q1. Number 2, Zoetis Incorporated. Zoetis Incorporated is the leader in animal medications, New Jersey-based former Pfizer subsidiary. Zoetis Incorporated was given an overweight rating and a $205 price objective by Piper Sandler analyst David Westenberg on July 11th. Despite its high operating margins, the analyst believes the company can increase it by 500 basis points over the next 10 years. Westenberg noted that reliable growth stocks like Zoetis are rarely available at these multiples. He recommended investors to pursue companion animal markets over food animal industries since pet owners will pay for novel therapies. Zoetis Incorporated stock was popular. 67 hedge funds own the company at the end of March, up from 61 a quarter earlier. Arrow Street Capital was the company's top stakeholder in Q1 with a $627.3 million holding, up 172% from Q4. Number 1, Medtronic plc. 1623 Capital's first quarter healthcare holding was Medtronic plc. The fund owned 48,000 shares of MDT worth $5.32 million, 2.66% of its overall portfolio. Medical equipment firm Medtronic plc operates in 140 countries. It has produced 44 years of growing dividends and has a 68-cent per share quarterly payout and 3.07% yield as of July 12. Many Wall Street analysts are pessimistic on Medtronic plc shares due to supply chain difficulties and disappointing quarterly performance. Atlantic Equities analyst James Mainwaring lowered Medtronic plc to neutral from overweight with a price objective of $105, down from $125. He said the company remains caught in a negative earnings revision cycle after its latest quarterly shortfall, despite management's conservative expectations. 54 hedge funds from Insider Monkey's Q1 database own Medtronic plc for $1.98 billion. 55 hedge funds had $2.78 billion in firm stakes a quarter earlier. In the first quarter of 2022, Diamond Hill Capital was Medtronic plc's largest stakeholder. So what do you think about our video? Do let us know in the comment box below. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel for all of our future updates.